Good morning, it is Mike Ferry. Welcome to Mike Ferry TV and welcome to the week of June 17. Now, just in case you're wondering, we are 1 month away from the Superstar Retreat. Are you going to be there? Are you going to join us? Well, Mike, I live on the East Coast. Do you know they have flights now from the East Coast to the West? Some of you probably didn't know that. You don't have to take the train, stay off the Greyhound bus, don't carpool, jump on a plane, come out and join us. Because see, the truth is, we're going to have thousands of the best agents in the country together for 4 days with Mike Ferry and his band of renown, which is great agents like yourself coming together to look at, talk about, and learn how to sell more real estate. By the way, is that your goal? Sell more real estate? I think if it is, that's the right place. So today, we're on week 11 of the Mike Ferry sales system on handling objections. And I want to get right to the point because I've written down a series of thoughts that are really important in this process of handling objections. I think probably the most important thing that we can look at today is to differentiate between an objection, a question in the mind of the customer that remains unanswered, and a condition, which is a statement of fact you can do nothing about. Okay, now watch this. A condition. A buyer says, the market's hot. I got a raise in pay. I want to buy a new house. Great. How much do you want to pay for your new house? Well, we understand that interest rates are low. We want to spend $1 million. Great. My mind lights up. 3% commission, $1 million. Put them in the car. Let's go. And in the car, you very casually say, so what kind of down payment do you want to make? Well, I want to buy it VA. I don't want to put a down payment. I want to get a no money down. Any reality there? Of course not. That's a condition. Oh, by the way, what kind of work you do? I'm a fry cook at McDonald's. But I'm a supervisor, so I'm making now $11 an hour. Hello? Any reality there? See, there are certain conditions. My standard line for the last 20 years is, I think the best job that I could ever get would be to be the center for the Los Angeles Lakers. There's only a couple minor conditions that get in the way, starting with my height, my age, my experience, and my lack of talent. Outside of that, so we have to really get clear on the fact that there are conditions which are statements of fact you can do nothing about. Now, however, an objection that you receive, it's a question in the mind of the customer that remains unanswered. What is the job of a great salesperson? To answer all of the questions they have so they can make an intelligent decision to decide to list with you versus somebody else. But you see, every seller is going to give an objection if we're not strong in the presentation. So let me give you the critical point I think we have to look at today. I wrote it this way. There's a direct correlation between the amount of objections I receive and the strength and quality of my presentation. Remember 2 weeks ago? Upgrade, 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 upgrade. Remember that conversation? And I have to tell you, I'm doing in May and June 2 3-hour seminars a day, 4 days a week, which I'm doing all over California, Nevada, Arizona. I'll do the same thing in August, September, October on the East Coast. Now watch this, guys and gals. I'm still seeing people show up at a listing seminar with me wearing shorts and golf shirts. What are you thinking about? What kind of an image is that? How is that possibly going to persuade a seller? Well, Mike, you know, we live in Las Vegas, it's hot. I think you do your listing presentations indoors. I think you'll be okay. Folks, there's a direct correlation between the quality and strength of what I say, how I appear, how I present, and the objections I get. Do you know why most real estate people get objections? Because they're trying to get rid of you. They know you can't answer them. See, instead of saying, you look like a bum, get out, they say things like, I got a friend in the business. And you go, you do? And they say it because you're sitting there in your t-shirt and your shorts. Or you're sitting there in your jeans down to your butt with holes in the knees because you think you're cool. Or you got your pyramid haircut on for the day. That doesn't work, guys and gals. Watch, knowing what to say is the name of the game. And if you know what to say, we've talked about it for 3 weeks, if you know what to say, they nod their head and they agree. But if you don't know what to say, I want you to cut your commission. I've got a friend in the business. I want to raise the price. All the objections you get all the time. Watch, strength and quality of presentation. People say to me all the time, you know, I don't think I like your presentation style. To which I say, I don't care. Because, well, actually, you're going to love this. I had somebody walk up last week in a seminar at the break and say, now, Mr. Ferry, I don't like you. And I said, well, we're even. She didn't know what to say to that. Watch, she didn't like my presentation. If you use a strong presentation, are sellers going to generally be on your side, yes or no? The answer is yes. And you walk in like a wimp. Hi, I'm so happy to be here, and I really want the listing, and I work real hard. Watch, they're going to blow you out the front door. It's the quality and strength of the presentation that gets the listing. But Mike, it's not my style. Well, then make it your style. Watch, it's acting. That's what presenting is. You're acting. You're an actor. You're an actress. You're portraying an image. That is the quality and strength of presentation. It eliminates objections. When I did this role play a few weeks ago for Jeff and Fafi Moore's company, I actually had to remind the seller to give me an objection because my presentation was so strong. We had written in big words in front of them, bring up the commission objection. And I finally said, now, are you guys okay with the commission? And the guy went, well, that's right. I had to remind him to bring up the objection because my presentation was strong enough. They didn't want to give me any objections whatsoever. I want you to think about this. There's a direct correlation between the quality and strength of the presentation and the amount of objections you get. You can eliminate them almost 100% by being better at what you are, which goes back to last week's conversation. Are you practicing all the time? And then I wrote down the next point. Listen, blinding flash of the obvious. Since objections never change, maybe we should learn the answers. There's only 5 or 6 objections a seller will ever give in their lifetime to an agent. Why don't we learn the answers? Because we're not salespeople. Salespeople know what to say. Salespeople know how to respond. A seller says to me, Mike, I want you to cut the commission. No. Any other questions? Well, why won't you cut the commission? I don't do that. Any other questions? No, if you're strong and you approach it that way, you can either move on or get out. Either one's okay. I don't care if I have to leave because of this. There's other sellers that need my service. I have to feel that strongly about myself to handle the objections I get. And then, of course, I wrote down, if you keep working every week at strengthening the presentation itself, you keep moving sellers closer to your side. Question that came up last week from one of you, and I don't know who wrote it. I should be able to mention your name. One of you sent me an email. If I start working on this listing presentation, how long is it going to take to get good? I said, well, how long are you planning on staying in real estate? Well, forever. I said, good, it'll take that long. Because see, great professionals are always improving. They don't just suddenly get there. A great actor doesn't arrive one day. A great baseball player doesn't one day become a star. It takes time. And it takes a long time. Are you willing to invest the next 3 to 5 years learning how to become the best agent there is? And is your income and productivity going to go up all the time because of it? The answer is yes. Learn your presentation skills, because as you strengthen them, the objections become less and less, and the seller moves more to your side. And then I wrote down next, the truth is, if you pre-qualify properly, you're hardly going to get any objections at all. Why? Because see, if you go back to the pre-qualifying from several weeks ago, as you ask the pre-qualifying questions, you draw the objections out. And as the objections are drawn out, and you're actually going ahead and concentrating on what the seller says, you're building the answers, listen, you're building the answers into the first part of your presentation. So when you first sit down, you're going to start answering the objections they gave you during pre-qualifying. And they won't come up again. See, they're just going to magically disappear because you've handled it openly without ever saying, you said to me this. When you walk in on your presentation and you know what they're going to say and you start to answer it in advance, they go, wow, this guy knows what I'm thinking about. I'm impressed. They forgot they've already told you. And then, of course, I wrote down next, you're going to love this one. Handling objections is primarily mind over matter. Mind over matter. People say to me, what does that mean? Well, you have to remove the fears you have, which is a mindset problem, versus the actual objection you get, which is the matter. And you can remove the fears by practicing and learning and strengthening your presentation and knowing the answers to the objections and pre-qualifying. See, if you'll go through that process, it is mind over matter. I believe there is no seller that I can ever sit down with that is actually motivated to sell that I can't list. I believe that. Mind over matter. Well, did you list 100%? No. But I have to walk in believing they're going to list with me. That's mind over matter. I believe there's not an objection they can give me that I can't handle. That's mind over matter. Or do you walk in saying, oh gosh, I hope they don't bring up commission, because if they do, I'm beat. That's the lack of mind being convinced by the matter. I wrote down, don't try to handle the objections during pre-qualifying, because you'll have plenty of time on the presentation. Pre-qualifying is just to discover stuff. Their motivation, their price, how much they owe, the type of home it is, the condition of the property. Pre-qualifying is just to discover stuff. Don't try to handle the objections on the phone, because you're not making your listing presentation on the phone. So let's summarize. I wrote down, there's a series of rules that I would recommend, and I'm going to suggest you take these, write them down on a 3x5 card. There's only 6 short rules. Carry it in your pocket. Review it, review it, review it, review it. Okay, watch rule number 1. Never argue when you get an objection. Always agree. Never argue. What are the odds of you winning an argument with a seller and getting the contract signed? Well, I proved that seller was wrong, so there. Did they list with you? Well, no, but that's not the point. Oh, I see. So you get paid a lot of money for finishing second? I don't think so. Rule number 2, smile, nod your head a lot. As they talk to you, just keep smiling at them. Greatest way to break down any defense is through a smile. Rule number 3, ask a lot of questions. Go back to the listing presentation. The whole listing presentation is questions. Rule number 4, hey, listen to the answers. See, in pre-qualifying, if you listen to the answers, guess what? You know what you have to say when you walk in the door. Answer the objection if necessary. Most of the time it's not. And then remember, no matter what happens, keep moving forward in your presentation. It is so critical. So I wrote down some homework assignments for today. You're going to love number 1. I've never heard this before. Continue role-playing and practicing your presentation once a day. But look at number 2. Write down the toughest objections on a 3x5 card. Review and practice the answers every day. And then I'm going to suggest this, and I know some of you are going to laugh when I say it. Buy a little mirror about this big and put it on your desk in your office. And then as you're working, practice smiling, because it breaks down all the fears and all the resistance and all the defenses sellers have when you practice smiling. Oh, by the way, did you buy an upfront seat for the retreat? Well, no, maybe I should say, oh, by the way, are you coming to the retreat? It's less than a month away. Upfront seats went on sale last week. They're sold out. This week, we're going to sell what we call our Executive Club. If you register for the retreat, watch for the announcement on the Executive Club. Remember, it's okay with me if you decide, because you're so good from following our system, to buy an extra ticket and give it to a friend in the office to come to the retreat. And by the way, are you going to be staying at the MGM Grand Hotel or across the street at Hooters, where you can get a room for $49 a night? If you're staying at Hooters and you're a guy, don't tell your wife where you're staying. Better tell you're at the MGM Grand. Just kidding. Have a great week. See you next week.